Chapter 7, The Gateway of Arcturus. Verily, when a person departs from this world, he goes to the wind. It opens out there for him like the hole of a chariot wheel. Through it he mounts higher. He goes to the sun. It opens out there for him like the hole of a drum. He goes to the moon. He goes to the world that is without sorrow. Brihad, Aranyaka Upanishad. When passing through the Prism of Lyra, there were some beings who decided to remain in non-physical form. These beings lovingly chose an existence of service to those of the more dense reality, such as third-density Earth. They realized that on developing physical worlds, the evolving life may need assistance from other realms. This assistance would come in the form of archetypes, angels, guides, and unseen inspiration. These beings were attracted to the area of the star Arcturus. During their initial attraction, the star field in the Arcturus region was slightly different from its present manifestation, but the energy of the area remains constant. There is a gateway or crossroad in the fabric of time and space in the general area of Arcturus. These beings soon realized this gateway passed dimensionally through almost every other area inhabited from the dimensional infusion. It was then that they began to understand their purpose, to aid consciousness from many levels of awareness. The Arcturian purpose is multifaceted. One idea is that they serve humankind as an ideal. They represent the future self of an individual or society. Their energy is, by its nature, a magnet that draws out positive potential and integration from the very depth of being. They reflect to Earth where it is heading in its evolution. Once humanity evolves into non-physicality, the ideal goal is to achieve a consciousness similar to that of the Arcturian mass consciousness. They recognize themselves as a group matrix, committed to the idea of the evolution of consciousness. Very often, Arcturian beings will manifest to humans as angels. It is known that one of the purposes of an angel is to serve humankind. In a very real sense, the Arcturians have a dedication to humankind. They have been chosen to learn about physicality through physical beings. They are etheric in nature. Their energy can be felt as a presence, a surge of creativity or unconditional love. They will manifest according to the belief system of the person with whom they are interacting. To the more traditionally religious, it will be as angels. To some of the more modern seekers, perhaps as extraterrestrials or future selves, either way the outcome is the same. An interaction with a truly loving being devoted to the service of physical beings and thus the whole. Because they serve physicality, they interact not only with the humanoid beings upon a planet, but also with the unseen kingdoms whose evolution is different from that of humanoids. Each planet has its own devic kingdom, the conscious energy of the plant, mineral, and animal kingdoms, and the Arcturian energy acts as a higher aspect of a planet's devic kingdom. Again, they repeat the idea of reflecting the future evolutionary ideal. There are a small number of Arcturians who chose to experience physicality in order to serve. Rather than entering physicality through the birth process, they choose to walk in an already existing body on a physical world. They do not have the need or the karmic compulsion, so to speak, to enter through the incarnation process. By various agreements between souls, a trade is established. The soul of a human who is emotionally in pain will enter the Arcturus realm for healing, and the curious Arcturian will temporarily embody upon a planet. This is not a common experience. Many who claim to be walk-ins have experienced a more common process that can be called a soul braid. This process is bringing in a higher frequency of the soul's own energy, not an exchange of consciousness. It can be mistakenly understood as the entrance of a new consciousness, whereas it is stepping up and integration of the original consciousness. The primary service the Arcturian provide for physical beings is that of emotional healing. Arcturus is more of a realm than an actual place, and within the realm of Arcturus, Earth souls who have a traumatic death or lives are healed and rejuvenated. Because the gateway of Arcturus connects dimensionally with Earth, all who incarnate on Earth must pass through the Arcturus realm before they reach the planet, unless they consciously choose not to. This provides a healing for those about to be born, and a strengthening of their choices and desire for the physical life about to occur. The gateway of Arcturus prepare non-physical consciousness for the intense focus of physicality and thus sexuality. From the Arcturian point of awareness, physicality and sexuality are the same expression. The Arcturus energy is particularly adept at various forms of sexual healing, such as in the case of sexual abuse during childhood or adulthood. The healing energies of Arcturus are equally nurturing for the abused and the abuser, for both are in much pain. The utilization of the Sirius Arcturus healing matrix can be quite powerful in such cases. The cetaceans, especially dolphins, can represent the Sirius Arcturus matrix to those in pain. Since dolphins are quite sexual and unconditionally loving in their expression, they can serve as a physical manifestation of the Sirius Arcturus healing matrix. This matrix is totally non-threatening, providing subtle healing on very deep levels. At death, the human consciousness passes through the Arcturus realm. They are there nurtured and cared for until they awaken to their greater reality. In the case of traumatic death, a great tenderness and healing is shared so that the soul about to awaken makes a smooth transition. In after-death experiences, the light that is perceived at the end of the tunnel is actually a representation of the Arcturus vibration. This vibration will be translated through the perceiver's own belief system. Because Arcturus is primarily 6 density, it is often perceived as the Christ or Buddha vibration. The light can be equated with the future or higher self, Christ self of an individual. So in a sense, during the death process, one is merging with the higher self, which happens to share a frequency range nearly identical to the Arcturus realm. The healing occurs. In all the creation there is nothing that heals, nurtures, and rejuvenates the human spirit as completely as the Arcturus vibration. In many after-death accounts, individuals have spoken poignantly of the bright light they encounter. An encounter chronicled in Moody's Life After Life states, "A brilliant white light appeared to me. The light was so bright I could not see through it, but going into its presence was so calming and wonderful. There is no experience on earth like it. Entering the Arcturus vibration after death can be equated with this experience." Another idea that is synonymous with the Arcturus vibration is the idea of creativity. When one is creating, one aligns with the energy of the Creator. Since Arcturus serves as a messenger of the Creator, so to speak, the vibrations are quite similar. In this way, Arcturus has been intimately bound to humanity from the beginning, since humanity is always creating. Arcturus is much more than a star. It is a frequency that one possesses within. It is a frequency of creation, healing, and evolution. It has been with Earth and other developing physical planets from their inception. It is less a character in the galactic family story than an undercurrent when it is ever present in the entire dimensional infusion idea. Because the energy of Arcturus is an undercurrent that consistently interacts with us, the Earth planetary environment often translates Arcturian energy into a form that is meant to trigger individuals emotionally. An example of this is the lenticular cloud, a spectacular cloud formation that molds itself into a disc shape. It may look like a spacecraft, but most of the time it is merely the Earth environment translating the energy it perceives at an etheric level. These etheric ships serve once again to remind humanity of its unseen connection. Within polarized reality, Arcturus has chosen a counterpart to reflect other aspects of its evolving nature. Its counterpart is the area called Antares. Within the dimensional gateway or crossroads, there is a joining between Antares and Arcturus, which serves as a major focal point of energy in this region. Most of the consciousness who incarnate on Earth pass only through the Arcturus vibration. There are others who choose to pass through Antares before they reach Arcturus. These are the individuals who work directly with mass consciousness patterns, matrices, and cellular evolution. Antares is also the dimensional connection point between Earth's quadrant of the Milky Way and the galaxy Andromeda. The Antares-Andromeda connection energizes the abstract concepts of existence and consciousness necessary for physical races to begin to remember their heritage, thus transmuting their past. Most of the other races explored in this work have more individualized agreements with planet Earth. The Arcturus connection is very fluid, very malleable, but no less important. If one likens all the other characters of the story to ingredients in a cosmic soup, one can see how they all add to the flavoring. However, if one likens Arcturus to the consistency of the bouillon in the soup, it is apparent how the Arcturian vibration is a vital ingredient that holds it all together. Many manifestations of the Arcturian energy on Earth can be explored. First, one can say that Arcturus and Sirius form a partnership, whereas Arcturus works with emotional healing. Sirius facilitates physical healing. The Egyptians knew this connection and called upon the energies of the Arcturus-Sirius matrix for assistance in their rituals. The Egyptian deity known as Anubis was a direct Syrian archetype, but worked with the Arcturian energy. Anubis guided individuals into the underworld, the astral, or through the process of physical death. There, the energies of both Sirius and Arcturus began the healing process with the soul. The representation of the jackal or the dog is in the dog star of Sirius as Anubis is a blatant signal that the Egyptians were aware of the connection. Anubis, as a Sirius archetype, led the departed soul to the Arcturus realm where healing occurs. Arcturus represents integration as much as Orion represents the conflicting or polarized nature of humanity. The archetype of Merlin has often been labeled a bridge. When two polarities attempt a unification, there must be a common ground they both stand on before the merging occurs. Merlin is thus a bridge between the explosive Orion and the healing Arcturus. He is the common ground. It is apparent how this energy has been of a major importance not only to Earth, but to all who experience polarity. Magic is the spark created from the friction between polarities that ignites transformation. Early in the development of the Earth, the Arcturians agreed to densify themselves enough to be perceived temporarily. They interacted with the early culture called Lemuria by teaching healing skills. The memory of these interactions was carried throughout generations. When the Lemurians migrated to many areas of Earth, these memories were carried with them. The statues of Easter Island are one of the few ideas that remain in the physical of their direct interactions. These statues are not meant to represent these densified Arcturians so much as to pay tribute to them. The position of the statues is skyward, gazing at the horizon, waiting for the Arcturian return. Humanity has never had to wait for their return. The energy has been present all along. If one looks inward instead of outward, they can be found. They are the human race evolved to its highest potential. They remind humanity and edge it forward into the magnificent spiral of evolution. Home is where the heart is, and the heart is the path of Arcturus. End of chapter.